Picture this, right? You've got a pounding headache, or maybe your lower back is just absolutely throbbing. You drag yourself into the local pharmacy, stand in the pain relief aisle, and boom, you're completely overwhelmed. Just rows and rows of boxes staring back at you. Do you reach for the paracetamol? Do you grab the ibuprofen? Honestly, what is actually the difference? Well, welcome to this explainer. Our goal today is to completely demystify these everyday medications. We're going to break down exactly what goes on inside your body when you take them. So the next time you're standing in that aisle, you'll know exactly what you need.
But before we talk about the cure, we really need to understand the problem itself. Ask yourself, how long does pain actually have to last to be considered chronic? I mean, we all get those occasional aches, right? A stubbed toe, a temporary headache, maybe a muscle cramp after hitting the gym a bit too hard. But exactly when does that occasional ache clinically cross the line into the debilitating reality of ongoing pain? It's a transition that millions of us experience, and understanding it is absolutely the first step to managing it.
Okay, let's dive into this. According to the medical experts over at MedicineNet, chronic pain is broadly defined as pain that lasts or even worsens over a long period of time. But here's the wild part. Even the top experts in the world can't entirely agree on the exact timeline for this. Some medical professionals argue that you literally have to suffer for 1 full year for the condition to officially be classified as chronic. But then others draw the line way earlier at just 3 months. And some use entirely different metrics altogether. It's kind of crazy, right?
But honestly, regardless of the exact timeline, the impact is totally undeniable. As this quote from WebMD points out, chronic pain, even if it's minor, negatively impacts a person's life and absolutely justifies the need for painkillers. Think about the stakes here for a second. Whether it's the daily ache of arthritis, a recurring migraine, or just a lingering sports injury, pain just drains your energy. It ruins your overall quality of life. Finding a way to manage it isn't just about comfort. It's literally about getting your life back. And that makes finding the precise, correct solution so incredibly critical.
So, here is our roadmap for this explainer today. First, we'll look at the enigma of chronic pain. Second, we'll ask, how does paracetamol work? Third, anti-inflammatories and fighting swelling. And finally, which do you choose?
Section 1. The enigma of chronic pain. Making sense of the mystery. With so many confusing options out there, we really need a clear way to choose.
And that brings us directly to the pivotal question of this entire explainer. What is the true difference between paracetamol and ibuprofen? These are the two undisputed heavyweights of the medicine cabinet. They might look super similar sitting there on the shelf, and yeah, people use them interchangeably all the time, but inside your body, they operate like completely different machines. So, let's uncover the core functional differences between them. Section 2. How does paracetamol work? The brain blocker. Let's dive right into our first contender, which you might know commercially as Rivanin. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this medicine actually tackles your pain. I want you to think of paracetamol as a brain blocker. It doesn't actually fix the problem down at the physical site of your injury. Instead, it works primarily right up in your brain to block the pain messages from ever registering. It essentially intercepts that signal that says ouch. Plus, it seems to work on the parts of the brain that act as your body's thermostat, which is why it so effectively lowers your temperature. Because of this really specific mechanism, it's a fantastic tool for headaches, minor pain, and reducing fevers. But here's the catch. Paracetamol has a major limitation. It has a massive blind spot. It is not effective against inflammation. And this is the absolutely crucial dividing line that you've got to remember. If you sprain your ankle, your body's natural response is inflammation, right? That involves physical swelling, redness, and heat right at the site of the injury. Paracetamol might successfully stop your brain from feeling the full extent of the pain, sure, but it does absolutely nothing to reduce that physical swelling in your ankle. Section 3. Anti-inflammatories. Fighting swelling. The local firefighter. Let's move on to our second contender, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs, like ibuprofen or Brufen. So, if paracetamol is the brain blocker, I want you to think of NSAIDs as the local firefighter. When you injure a specific organ or muscle, your body immediately produces these chemicals called prostaglandins. These chemicals are essentially the fuel for the inflammatory fire. They're exactly what caused the pain and the swelling directly at the injury site. NSAIDs? They go straight to the localized site of that injury and reduce the level of those specific chemicals. They literally put out the local chemical fire, reducing both the pain and the physical swelling right at the injured organ. Oh, and as a super helpful bonus, they also share paracetamol's ability to help lower fevers.
Section 4. Which do you choose? Making the right call. It is time to bring both of these drugs head-to-head for a really clear comparison.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate deciding factor side by side. On the left, we've got paracetamol, your brain blocker. Fantastic for fevers and general aches, but offers literally zero inflammation relief. Then on the right, we have NSAIDs like ibuprofen, your local firefighter. It actively reduces swelling by targeting those prostaglandins right at the source of the injury. The absolute key word you need to remember here is inflammation. If your pain involves physical swelling, like a swollen arthritic joint or a fresh muscle sprain, the local firefighter is built specifically for that job. But if it's a headache or a fever without any localized swelling, the brain blocker might be the only thing you need.
But hey, what if your pain is incredibly severe and multi-layered? Well, medical science has actually thought of that too. There are combination drugs available out there that mix paracetamol and NSAIDs together into one single pill. These are specially designed for people battling severe pain and inflammation simultaneously. It basically gives your body both the brain blocker and the local firefighter in one highly effective team-up.
So, we've decoded the science, but remember, everyone's body and medical history are entirely unique. The next time you find yourself standing in that completely overwhelming pharmacy aisle, ask yourself, does your body need a brain blocker, a local firefighter, or a team-up of both? The power to understand and manage your pain is now in your hands. But always remember, your doctor or pharmacist is absolutely your best ally in making that final call to ensure you're using the right tool for the job. So, which will you choose?